Today's message is a bit on the longer side, so please make sure you stay tuned for a special message about our tour at the end. Hey y'all, what's up? It's Friday, so I'm gonna keep it black, but I'm gonna keep it brief. If you thought we could move on from genocide, think again. And unfortunately, I, like many others, fell right into the trap of completely missing the occupation, invasion, exploitation, and genocide of an African nation. One that has also been going on for decades, but has been swept under the rug because everybody involved in this one is black. At least that is until you pull back the laters. Ooh, shall we get into it? We shall. The Democratic Republic of the Congo, everybody, is in dire straits. Since 1996, approximately 6 million people have died. Today, around 6.9 million people have been displaced, and the region itself is facing wanton violence and exploitation from various rebel groups, militias, and the martial law state of government that has replaced a civilian one. The primary group that everybody is talking about doing all of the killing, raping, and pillaging is the Mouvement du Ventre Mars, or the March 23 movement, or M23. But before I tell you about M23, I have to take you back to the Rwandan genocide to even explain how we got here. After World War I, the League of Nations gave Belgium control of 2 former German colonies since Germany was acting an ass during World War I. These colonies happened to be Rwanda and Burundi. And because Belgium was all for colonialism, but not at all for actually taking care of a small, poor colony, they ruled them at a distance with the help of white missionaries. They hoped that weaponizing Christianity in the region would eventually lead to the colonies actually making some money. Lord, they know not what they do. They know exactly what the f they did. But wait, there's more. The Belgians were so obsessed with something called anthropometry, the specific type of eugenics that focuses on the shape and measurements of the human body, and that's how they arbitrarily decided that the Tutsis were more appealing and therefore superior. So they made the Tutsi Christian. They gave the Tutsi the power to impose forced labor and violent punishment. Education was only available to Tutsi children, and the conditions imposed on the Hutu led to famine. But then, all of a sudden, when the independence movement started springing up across the African continent, the Belgians were like, oh man, the Hutu have been oppressed. Girl, what? And when Rwanda got its independence in 1962, the Hutu burned down all the Tutsi huts and pushed 300,000 of them into exile. And whole time, Belgium was on their side, saying that because the Hutu were the ethnic majority, they should also be the political majority. It doesn't make sense now. So when Tutsi rebels were accused of assassinating the Rwanda president in 1994, Hutu rebels trifled with during colonialism and emboldening after independence snapped. They killed 1 million Tutsis and Hutu sympathizers. And it was during this genocide that 2 million Hutu refugees crossed the Congolese border, settling into refugee camps in North and South Kivu. And many of these refugees were indeed Hutu extremists. So it's important to note that the end of the Rwandan genocide meant the Tutsi rose back to power. And when they got themselves situated over there, they came right on into the Congo looking for those leftover Hutu extremists. And so, not to minimize the details that fully flesh all this out, but essentially the First and Second Congolese Wars, also known as the African World War because so many surrounding countries are involved officially and unofficially backing militant groups, it resulted in the largest death toll the world has seen since World War II, 5.4 million. And all of it has been charged by the rise and fall of Hutu versus Tutsi powers and their willingness to continue waging a war on ethnic cleansing, all because the Belgians thought somebody's nose was more high fashion than the other. It's like, y'all ain't never cleaned up a mess you made but got the nerve to call black people lazy. The M23 rebels themselves are a Tutsi-dominated group that has dominated the North Kivu region. But they are not the only ones wreaking havoc in the area. Peacekeepers sent by the UN are also capitalizing on the lawlessness, also exploiting locals, also perpetuating sexual violence. So many ethnic groups have chiefdoms, rebel groups, and militias fighting not only to protect their land and their tribes, but also to become partners in Western interests. My God, today. The DRC is the 4th largest African country by population, and it's home to so many resources that power industries across the globe. So what does that mean? Numerous outside parties are aiding corrupt governments in African nations, chiefdoms, rebel groups, and political parties to get access to black bodies and black resource. Child labor and war crimes are all even further intensified because of this. And before you say anything about, see, that's why the Africans sold each other into slavery and y'all need to start blaming white people, it's like you bitches don't understand historical context or nuance. How many times do we have to say that Africa is not a country? Home to 54 different countries today, and the Europeans were dealing with a minimum of 10 African nations during the slave trade. Tribalism existed. The enslavement they practiced simply meant political power and superiority over whoever lost in the fight. And post-wartime, the enslaved were assimilated into the society of the ruling nation. What happened then and what's happening now is the introduction of materials with seemingly higher value. Only now that is indeed a hard fact of life and the truth, because the only nation that has never robbed Africa of anything is Russia. And now they have to fight over resources in a land characterized by poverty and lack that used to be characterized by kingdoms and glory, a land that is still of abundance, but an abundance they will never have access to because everybody else's hands are on it. Today, the same pattern is being implemented. Just all the hard work has already been done, and all these very powerful nations have to do is capitalize on third world conditions where certain ethnic groups have become criminalized and others have become weaponized, and any shot at collectivism has been neutralized. The Congo has coltan, gold, tin, cobalt, copper, zinc, diamonds, and rare earth minerals. And much of this is used for high-tech and aerospace engineering and the production of clean energy. And hold on, are you kidding me? The exploitation of black bodies and resources to facilitate mass production is what led to climate change and global warming over the years. And you're telling me that countries like the UK and China want to do it again to clean up that mess? To hit reset and undo? It's interesting though, for everybody affected to have been subjected to a class of people who have brought both the climate and humanity of this planet to its knees within a span of 400 years. And I gotta ask y'all don't feel lame? We have an announcement! If you've been keeping up with the parking lot, you know the parking lot is about to wrap up for the year because your girl is going on tour. This video was a bit long, but just more proof that I need more time to chat with y'all to really flesh things out. So if you are in New York, DC, Atlanta, Houston, or LA, do not hesitate to get your tickets because they are selling fast. In fact, we wanted to reward y'all for all the love that you're showing. So we've decided that the first city to sell out will be the only city that will have access to Friday Night Live merchandise, period. And it will be custom for your city. Now, I'm gonna be honest, DC is on everybody's ass. So please don't let them beat you because you was asleep. See you soon.